Hello and welcome to Top Fives, the show of everything. Top Fives, presented by The Sex Effects. I'm Joey Parati.
And I'm Sean Day.
And folks, we have, I think, a damn good show for you this evening. We're going to talk about music, we're going to talk about games, we're going to talk about love. But before we get to all the topics that we dearly love, Jonathan, how are you doing today, sir?
Uh, Great as usual. I was just telling Joey just before we start, I'm pretty run out for like 3 hours of sleep. So getting there. I have no beer or water. I got coffee in front of me right now. So cheers to y'all.
Cheers.
Yeah, but I'm doing okay. Just trucking, man. Whatever
Very
that
good.
means.
Hey,
Yeah, but yeah, it's been kind of a cool, eventful week already. Yesterday, I actually met up with an old professor of mine from
oh, nice.
CCUMB.
Did he seduce you?
No. But he was my old professor, Drew Waters, who was the audio engineering and music
That's
professor
right.
at the school.
Very cool.
Yeah, it was cool. I don't know why it's taken me this long to link up with him, but we ended up going to a coffee shop called Republic of Pie in North Hollywood, and it was cool. Kind of interesting to like
Nice.
get to talk to him, and he's no longer a professor there now. So he was telling me a
Yeah.
little bit about like the transition and like what happened, after, and where he's working now, and what he's like doing right now, which is kind of cool because it kind of relates to Alicia, because he's doing kind of VR immersive education, I would say,
Oh,
as one
wow.
of as one
That's
of
that's very cool.
his jobs. So yeah, and then he was telling me about a virtual recording studio that he was able to kind of go into and test around. So it was really cool.
Nice.
Yeah, it was just great to like connect with him, and then just kind of tell him what I'm doing and ask advice from him and all that kind of stuff. So and I'm probably gonna link up with him again,
Cool.
just for some more kind of further discussions, I guess, on jobs and also just like properly registering my music and all this kind of stuff, like all that. So yeah, so
Yeah.
it was really cool. So
That's
I don't know
awesome,
if
man.
I don't know if you listen to the podcast, but Drew Waters, thank you so much for meeting with me, and we'll see you again for sure.
Right on, man. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Very
but
cool.
other than that, that's pretty much it. Just kind of getting through
Nice.
the week, and yeah, pretty tired right now. Sorry for we got like a fire truck in the background. I don't know if you guys hear that, but
That's the sounds of the city, baby.
sounds of
That's
the
all
city,
that is.
baby. Yeah. Joey, how are
They
you
used to go.
doing this week?
I'm also extremely tired. Yesterday, met up with your father and our good friend Andrew Hopkins at. Oh, I'm blanking on all the names of the places that we went to.
It's okay.
Um,
Probably had
but
a
it
few
was
drinks, right? So
had quite a few drinks. Lost track of the number of drinks that I had. We went
Whoa.
and had few drinks, had some fries, and funnily enough, the band, I think it was the main band, was like sitting right next to us at the other bench at the
Whoa.
bar. So that was kind of funny.
That's cool.
And these bands were great, man. It's been a minute since I've seen kind of that production or musicianship at that, like as your dad was saying, these bands are used to playing, stadiums and things like that overseas, and they come here and they're playing this little club, but they still bring the same punch and the same power.
Yeah.
Um, so Red Rum Club was the first band. They were great. We got to chat it up and hang out with them afterwards. I bought the guitarist a beer, and as soon as the beer came, he walked away. So I would have done the same thing if I were him.
Aw.
I would have done the same thing. Um, and yeah, it was great. It was trying to think where I was going with that, but yeah. And then the other band were the Lathams,
It's okay.
and yeah, they were both just very very good bands.
Cool.
Great show. Yeah, it was so much fun. Got home late and drunk, and yeah, this morning Lucy told me, she was like, yeah, you don't remember, we were like crying last night talking about the future and like, you know, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't remember any of that. um yeah, so then I worked today, and then around noon, maybe a little before, maybe a little after, my new computer came. So if my camera, if I look more clear, that is why. I'm now on the 24-inch, 23 and a half, 2021 M1 Imac. So
There we go.
very excited
M1.
about this. The M1, yeah, it's a gorgeous machine. The packaging was fun, you know. On the They had the little cellophane thing on the screen, and it says hello. And you know, you open the box, and everything kind of like comes out almost like origami or something, you know,
Oh.
like a pop-up kind of thing. But yeah, purple. I've always wanted an Apple keyboard with the with the keypad.
Yeah, yeah.
So I did it finally, and it's got the touch thing there. Purple trackpad,
Ooh.
and purple mouse as well. You can't really tell. It looks silver on screen, but it's like that metallic purple.
Purple color. Dude, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
So it's very
Man.
cool.
That's a good day. I know we had a discussion on that on the last episode of just
Yeah.
like, you know, I mean, yeah, new computer is you know, it's gonna help you a lot for, you know, what you're, you know, doing with
With
your work and
everything.
writing,
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. So and then
Yeah.
I've heard those M1s are just lightning fast, like the way
It's
it
pretty
moves.
rad, dude. It's pretty rad.
Cool, dude.
Yeah, man. So that's, you know, but yes, I am also running on not a ton of sleep, not a ton of good sleep for sure. I felt about half alive all day today. So
That's how
we're
how
gonna,
exactly I feel right now. Yeah.
yeah. Well, you know what? We can even just do one list if you want to do
Yeah.
just one, and we can. But we're gonna go through them quick today, and so we can both get some much needed R&R. Um,
Yes.
saying that, Jonathan, do you want to kick us off with a list?
Yeah, yeah. We talked about this a few weeks ago, and Joey had such a cool list for last week that we just banked this one. So these are these are some two that we have, and it has a little bit of gaming, a little bit of music. So we're gonna start off with top 5 music couples.
Top music couples. Um, I was going over my list, and I do want to add that. Well, I'll say it when I get to it. We're good. We're good. Um, number 5. I'm still like, where do these go? Where do
Who are
these go?
these?
I'm gonna put Tommy Lee and Pam Anderson at number 5 because Pam is not a musician.
Okay.
So, but it's still, I would count that as a rock and roll couple, music couple. Um, and if you've watched at all of the Pam and Tommy on Hulu, um, which I don't know, it feels a little exploitive. I don't know if I fully recommend it. I didn't finish it, but it was entertaining, you know. But I mean, that's a true blue, like rock and roll, crazy, wild lifestyle. Um, that almost kind of feels dangerous and you
Yeah.
don't really see anymore. Um, Definitely iconic. You know, I don't know if I'd want to like ever be in a room with either of them, but I mean, iconic, pretty cool. Number 4, this one's kind of a boring one. And again, it's only one person is a musician in this, and that is Mark Hoppus and Sky Hoppus from Blink-182.
Nice. Yeah. Okay.
They just seem like a very normal, sweet couple. They've been together over 20 years. You know, they have their son, and you know, this last year, Mark Hoppus went through his cancer treatment and everything, and you just, you know, kind of got a glimpse of what a decent kind of family dude he seems to be.
Yeah.
And that makes me happy because he seems like a nice guy, and his personal life seems to reflect that. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Ooh, Mark Hoppus.
there we go. You know, number 3, going to the other end of the spectrum, not boring, is Kurt Cobain and Courtney Love.
Kurt and Courtney. All right.
I hold to this day, if you watch the documentary Kurt and Courtney or the documentary Soaked in Bleach,
Yeah.
I think there's a pretty convincing argument that she had him killed because
Oh.
they were on the road to divorce, and she wouldn't have gotten any of that Nirvana money. Um, but even so, like, you can't deny the icon status of Kurt Cobain and Courtney Love. These
Yeah.
two, at their peak junkies, didn't give a fuck rock and rollers. When music started to get dangerous again, so it's pretty cool. I quite like that. But I don't think I'd ever want to like hang out with either of them in person. Maybe Kurt, probably not. I'm not trying to do heroin. Number two, I'm going to go with Paul and Linda McCartney. Again, not a lot of drama, but they just seem to live a very happy life for the 30 years that they were together. He wanted to start another band and go on tour, but he didn't want to leave his wife and family. So he made her part of the band in Wings, and they toured together. And he said that the only nights that they were apart was when he was in jail in Japan for smuggling weed in. Um, yeah, and I think he said he spent like 9 days or 11 days in jail or whatever in Japan, and those were the only nights that him and Linda were ever apart during their 30 years together. I think that's just beautiful. And I love that. Number one, of course, I'm a huge Johnny Cash fan, and Johnny and June have always kind of been the gold standard, if you will. The older I get, the more I learn about the true nature of that relationship. It's not as Hollywood as Hollywood would make it seem. I'd say Paul and Linda probably had the more true life Hollywood kind of story, but it's still beautiful. They toured together in the 50s. Got together in the 60s, stayed together until her death, and then he died 4 months later. He couldn't live without her. And some of the greatest love songs have been written for each other. You know what I mean? She wrote Ring of Fire about their affairs and everything. Flesh and Blood is such good. And a lot of the songs that they would sing together, because
right?
they're,
Yeah.
Jackson, long-legged guitar picking man, darling companion, such great songs. And you could really feel the love and affection that they had for each other when they were on stage, the way they sang to each other, the way they looked at each other. Johnny and Jane, my number one. Yeah.
I like that. A good
Thanks,
list
man.
of couples, man.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear yours, because
I'm trying to remember this this list I came up with. I have a few crossovers. One of them is questionable for their nature of each other, because I think they were toxic to each other. But I guess historic to punk rock. So I got Sid and Nancy as number 5.
I was gonna say, I see where this is going.
And his
Yes.
girlfriend, kind of similar to the Kurt Cobain, the whole. I mean, it was definitely a drug infused and very toxic relationship, I would say. But I always kind of, the two kind of go hand in hand as far as Sid Vicious during that time with the Sex Pistols, and Nancy would be along with them when they're playing their shows. And it's a sad. Obviously, it's a sad story with those guys, but the way they presented, their music and the kind of their look, and and it just kind of like, I don't know. It was like Bonnie and Clyde. I don't know. It's like that kind of.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's like that whole.
They're outlaws.
They're outlaws. Yeah. So Sid and Nancy for number 5. I've got this one. I got Notorious B.I.G. and Faith Evans.
Ooh.
And I think I'm trying to remember how they met, but they were pretty much a couple for a while. I don't know if up until Notorious was shot and murdered, but she was again kind of weirdly enough in her name, faithful to Notorious, and she would always be there with him. And obviously Notorious B.I.G. was such a big rapper at the time. you know, it must have been a lot. You know, I think that's always kind of the tough thing with these couples is sometimes they're not both famous people or huge magician or musicians, and you know,
Sometimes they're both huge magicians, though.
sometimes they're both huge magicians too as well. So, but you know, getting used to that lifestyle, and for the most part, from what I've just heard and read and stuff, Faith Evans and Taurus Big were really close, very very close, and
That's cool.
faithful to each other for the longest time. So yeah, got a little Notorious in there.
Wonderful.
Number 3 got Jay-Z and Beyonce. I know there's some also
You got to.
controversy with that one. But hey, man, they're like the power like couple in the music scene right now, or in the music industry.
Absolutely.
They probably gotta be one of the richest couples out there too. But yeah, I mean they're both their, as far as you know, musicians and artists, and their body of work and history with music is you know, so influential to a lot of different people. And you know, when they married and became a couple, and of course they collaborated on music too as well. Yeah, they were kind of like the power like duo. I mean, nothing could stop them almost to some degree. And yeah, there's no Jay-Z without Beyonce now. So yeah,
Truth.
little Jay-Z Beyonce for number 3. I did have Sky and
Oh yeah.
Adrienne. I can't say her full name. Oh no, sorry, not Sky. Sorry, Sky. I'm mixing up names now.
Uh-oh.
Mark Hoppus and Sky. Sorry, I'm reading the other list I had. But yeah, kind of seconding what Joey was saying. You know, Mark Hoppus and his kind of family life has, you know, and he's been really, you know, I would say even this, recently with his cancer treatment and you know what he was going through there. You know, he's very open to kind of sharing those kind of things about his family. And again, he seems like a very, very chill dude, and you know, very family oriented, especially with like a son and everything. And that's like all I've hoped for like if we ever met like the members of Blink-182 one day.
Yeah.
You know, I did meet Mark Hoppus at one point in my life at Disneyland, like randomly, and I had to stop what I was doing and like go to him and just be like, hey. And I even said, I know you're with your family. I don't want to disturb you or anything like that, but I just want to say I'm a huge fan and enjoy your day. That's what I pretty much said.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, he was there with his family, and they seem like they always have a lot of fun with each other. So yeah, Mark Hoppus and Sky. And this is why I read this wrong, but number 1, Billy Joe Armstrong, dude, and Adrienne, which is his wife. I think they've been married almost as long as I think Mark Hoppus and Sky.
Longer, I think.
I think longer, yeah, longer.
I think since Dookie, honestly.
Yeah, they've been together for a long time, and you know, that's, I mean, like, I got to think about, like, it's got to be like, you know, I mean, these days I don't really dream about being like a rock star or anything, but it's got to be hard to be in a committed relationship, married, and have like a family life and everything when you're, you know, like a touring musician and you're so huge. Like, I mean, Green Day, when they got so big, you know, after American Idiot, that album was so, you know, big, and they were touring all over the place in big stadiums. But he always kind of found ways to focus on his family, and you know, I know he went through a lot of, you know, alcoholism and everything like that. But it seemed like, you know, his family was always there for him. And as a couple, I mean, even when you see them just like on the red carpet or wherever they're at in public, they always seem like they're such a happy couple. So Billy Joe Armstrong. I think the long term.
It's very nice. That is very nice. Yeah.
So that is my list. I'm so sorry, my video is like super choppy right now, guys. So
that's okay. Chop, motherfucker.
Pause it. See if that works. Okay, it's kind of getting back. Whatever. I'll have to look into that issue again too. So This is the sign that a new computer is nearing my future, because
there we go.
This also might be a combination of my computer not being able to handle all the stuff that's on right now. So apologies for anyone who's watching right now. Yeah, music couples, dude. I feel like that's a, we talk about a lot of music and bands, and I feel like that's. I'm surprised that we haven't mentioned this list before in the past, but at the same time, it's something that I don't usually think about, like when we
Yeah.
when we talk music and stuff. So and it's cool to see, yeah, these some of these couples stand the test of time and go through all those hardships and for a career like that, doing kind of a touring musician and being kind of a celebrity in that way, that's got to be a tough gig. So
Yeah. In more, barach.
but
No
yeah,
pun intended. Yeah, man. Very nice. That's a good list. Yeah, I didn't even think about Billy Joe.
yeah, Billy
Um,
Joe,
yeah, I think
Billy
she
Joe.
helped him like design his clothes that were at Hot Topic back in like American Idiot era.
Oh,
I
that's
had a few of those
cool.
shirts.
See,
Yeah.
that's cool, and that's what a few of the people we've mentioned on the list have collaborated with each other, right? As like, maybe either music or some other form, and I think that's super cool too.
Yeah.
I think you know what? I think Faith Evans also sang as well, so
Oh,
I bet
cool.
you anything they did kind of, you know, collaborate or something. But yeah, now I'm looking at my list, like it's cool. Some of them are just like it's completely, they're just either they don't do music and then but also it's kind of cool to see the collaboration, especially with like someone like Paul McCartney and his wife. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And in her case, she had to learn from scratch. She was a photographer, not a musician.
Oh, I did not know that.
Um,
That's kind of cool.
yeah, so he taught her how to sing. He taught her how to play keys. And I can't imagine the patience that woman must have had.
Yeah,
Because Paul
especially
McCartney is a known perfectionist,
yeah.
and
I mean, yeah, that too. Yeah.
so. But I
Man.
mean, the harmonies on Ram are very, very good. And it's
Yeah.
that album is credited to the both of them. It's the only one, but she's on it, and it's great. So
That's super cool, man. Creative couples too.
yeah,
That's really cool.
love it. We love to see it.
Love it.
Uh,
Love it.
Shawnee, how are you feeling, man? We're 20 minutes in. Would you
I could
like
I could
to?
do this other list. My
All right.
video's like driving me insane, but whoever's watching, I'm sorry, this video is going crazy right now. And I'm sure it's crazy for you, Joey, because I don't know if my voice is matching up to what you're seeing right
Not no, but that's
now. No,
okay.
yeah.
I do my. We're fine though.
It's a little crazy. So we'll hopefully figure that issue next stream. But
Yes.
yeah, I'm down to do another list. Let's do it,
All
man.
right. Yeah. All right. Speedrun kids, we got this.
Speed run. Let's go.
Um, Jonathan, what are your top five open world video game maps?
Ooh. Okay. I'm gonna say I actually did finally beat this game on the PS3. It's Red Dead Redemption. So like I know it's a
You
series of
did beat
different.
it.
I did beat it finally.
Nice.
Um,
Nice.
it's a series of different kind of maps and stuff, but the map in its entirety, um, New Austin and all the other kind of parts of it, really fantastic. Especially kind of like revisiting the game on PlayStation 3 and like seeing the scope of like the map and everything. And I have
Yeah.
yet to really play now Red Dead Redemption 2, so I'm actually really excited to dive into that. And that game has been recommended by you and a whole bunch of people, and I've heard they've obviously amped that open world map to like the biggest, you know, even bigger than probably what Red Dead
It's
Redemption was. So
it's wild how big it is.
yeah, that's why I'm kind of excited, like, and I'm sure now it's like it's probably cheap now and on discount. So I'm like, yes, let's do it. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed playing the game, and it was very immersive. And I mean, being able to ride around on your horse and go around, you're interacting with all these different people on your way to these different towns. Um, the kind of uh, way they get you inside this world. And I mean, with open world maps, it's like that's kind of the thing about them, is like you're willing to go and explore and find new things to look at, or you might run into something that you just didn't expect, which usually happens in Red Dead. You kind of run into different things that happen And for the kind of genre of game as far as the open world, but in this kind of like Western, type setting, it was really cool because I've always wanted to, be like a cowboy in like a game, and it's like they
Yeah.
really bring it to life in this way, and each area of the map has its kind of own identity, and that's what I still love about like open world maps, where it's so big and it can be kind of daunting at times, but there are ways that they design it and find ways for you to get curious and get and interact and go to those places. And I felt like Red Dead Redemption did a really good job of doing that
Yeah.
for the player. So number 5, Red Dead Redemption. I'm gonna go number 4. I have Skyrim. Uh, yeah, Elder
Ooh.
Scrolls Skyrim. That was I just re-downloaded because I bought the Switch version because I was like, oh, it'd be kind of cool to play this handheld. And I just kind of started it up again, and I'm like, dude, this game is just so. There's so much you can do in this game.
Yeah.
It has early. I mean, it kind of reminds me a little bit like Zelda, with like the dungeons and like these kind of places you can go to and kind of puzzle type stuff. Um, I mean, there's different. I mean, especially with open worlds, there's all these different things that inhabit the area, like creatures, and they have different races of characters, and you kind of dive into this, and it again, exploration. You're going to different areas. Sometimes you have the main mission, and I remember I pulled up my PS4 Skyrim account, and I have so many like side missions to complete, and that's just like the scope of like that's what's so cool about these open world games is they are able to not they don't give I mean they give you a kind of linear story if you want to go there, but there's just you can make like your own story. You can kind of be your own kind of character and like experience it the way you want it to be. And Skyrim was just like such a huge playground for that kind of thing. um, Going to like castles, and then when you have like kind of similar to Red Dead Redemption, you have like your um, I guess your reputation, and if you killed one of these people, then and that's their people, then they're going to be against you. So there's this whole thing where you have a specific play style that you can change up and do, and I think that's what's so great about Skyrim is like that freedom to like you can be your own character, and like you can and of course your play style and like how you want to play. You want to be a magician or magic type, or like a sword swinging type, or a guy who shoots arrows. There's a lot of possibilities with the game, and that's probably why I ended up. I had to pay for it, but that's why I ended up getting on Switch because I was like, I want to play this
Yeah.
game again. So Skyrim for number 4. Number 3, I've got from the Arkham series, Gotham City, man. From Arkham City, man, because
Arkham City, baby.
and it's I mean similar to the open world experience. Like, yeah, you have like your linear stories, but you also have these different things that are coming up and popping up in Gotham City. And as the character of Batman, it's so freaking cool to be able to play that character and go out and jump on these buildings and fly and glide from this point to point A to point B, discover these places that you found familiar through the Batman comics, or the movies, or the TV shows. The Riddler has all his stuff, his puzzles around the area. There's just like so much discoverables in the game, and it makes it so much fun, and really puts you in the mindset of Batman and Gotham City. And they did such a good job also designing it as well to kind of give you that feel for how it looks. And it's still one of my favorite games. I don't think I have the remastered versions. I still have the PS3
Oh man.
version of it. So I am kind of curious to like possibly. I think they have the trilogy, or they have to have
Yeah.
that like already as a bundle. So
I got that for like it was on a crazy sale. It was like $5. I got all three games.
dude, see,
I was like,
that's such a good deal because I
yeah,
mean I know they're gearing up for what's the new game that's coming out with the Batgirl and
Oh, Gotham Knights.
Gotham Knights?
Who cares?
Yeah, yeah. Just give me more Gotham's. Yeah,
Just give me
Gotham
more
City, dude.
fucking Batman.
But yeah, but Arkham City for sure was. Yeah, I really enjoyed that game, and it really immersed you
Yeah.
into the world, and it gave you a very different Batman game, and it especially compared to the first game in that series, which was more isolated into Arkham Asylum, and they
Yeah,
kind of
almost
opened that.
all interior, and there was no
Yeah.
gliding really. Yeah.
So that was really cool, and it's one of the close. I think for Arkham City, it's one of the closest kind of Batman games. If you want to be Batman, you play this game to experience that feel and style. So
Fucking
Gotham's Arkham, I guess Arkham City
Arkham City.
for number 3.
Very nice.
This one's a toughie, but I'm gonna flip these. I'm gonna go number 2. Spider-Man, the PS4 PlayStation game.
Ooh.
Uh,
Okay.
which I am not done yet. I think I'm 80% done with the game. I don't know why I shouldn't just finish it. But I guess going with the preface of we both enjoyed the Spider-Man 2 game.
Very much.
PS2. PS2?
Yes.
Yes,
And
PS2.
GameCube, and yeah, that whole era.
Which was the introduction of the swinging system, and when this game came out, that was like the one thing I was just really excited about is like swinging through New York City, and it's on PS4, so they have more detailed map of New York City, and the swinging mechanics of being Spider-Man, and they just nailed it in this game, and it makes exploring this open world so much more fun, and there's crime activities happening. You have these different Easter eggs and things to explore the city. It gives you a reason to explore and go throughout New York City. Even if it is a place. I mean, I haven't personally been to New York City, but we've seen it in the movies, and even though it is contained to this one city, it's still fascinating that you can just just jump to the Empire State Building or go to the Avengers Tower or something, and
Yeah,
and
it's
I
real.
can't.
Part is very cool.
Yeah, and I can't wait for the next kind of series of their games and how they're going to kind of amplify and expand on that world, and if there's going to be more interactivity with the people of New York, I guess. So yeah, Spider-Man for the PS4, New York. Also, just the swinging mechanics in it just made it so much more fun.
Yeah.
Number 1 for me, and I know there's a lot of open world games out there, but I still love playing in this open world game, and it's Grand Theft Auto 5, dude. Los Santos.
Yo. Okay.
I mean, this game, especially after you beat it, it's just, if you just want to kill some time and you're having a rough day or
People.
something, just so tired of people or whatever, just put on Grand Theft Auto, and you could just do whatever. You can drive around, you can kill some cops. You can you could steal a plane and drive that into wherever. There's just so much to do in this. With GTA 5, I think they really upped the ante of what Grand Theft Auto can be, and who knows what the next one's gonna be like. I still think they need to get their the person mechanics right, because I just feel like he's always so wonky.
A little bit. Yeah.
But I remember one of the funniest things I did was I went. Not, I guess not funny, but it was exhilarating to do. Is stealing a jet airplane from a military base on one of the maps.
Hell yeah.
On the near the coast, and it's oh yeah, you could do that. You could
You can
go to
do
this place.
anything.
You can
It's so fucking cool.
it's so sick, dude, and it is one of those I think that's kind of the purpose of what if you have an open world map. I know they give you the illusion of doing having this freedom, but you could do a lot of different things, and it just gives you unlimited time to just have fun in this sandbox. And I think Grand Theft Auto does this so well to get you into that world and the different cars and the characters. And then that's the thing I forgot to mention is this one has 3 characters, so you can bounce between all three of these characters and where they're at in their locations and what their their specialties are. I mean, Franklin was my favorite one because he had the
It
driving
was great,
ability.
which was kind of the most useful,
It
I
was,
think.
especially for driving like super fast on the freeway or wherever you're at.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Grand Theft Auto has always been one of my favorite kind of open world games. It's probably one of my earliest open world experiences, even in the earlier games.
No.
I mean, maybe like Mario, like the Mario games, but like
Uh,
I'm trying to think of
no,
like.
but I mean, like, you didn't have like Vice City
No, sorry,
or.
that's what I meant.
Oh, okay.
That's what I meant is like
Gotcha.
the GTA series itself was like my
I
first
I thought you
experience.
meant five. I was like, oh
Oh
wow,
no,
okay.
no. But yeah, I mean
The late bloomer.
they took a lot of care into to really making it an even bigger world for people to kind of mess in. And I don't really play the online stuff with GTA, but even that too is expanding on that is like a whole thing.
It's crazy. It's been going for 8 years, and people
Yeah,
are like, why isn't there GTA 6? It's like because the online is still going and
yeah.
still getting
There's still people.
updates and it's
Yeah,
thriving.
people are still playing it.
Um,
So that just
yeah,
shows like the quality and the attention to detail and the. I mean, that's the purpose of what the game should be doing: is entertaining you and making you have fun, making you escape for a little bit.
yes.
And it does that every time. And I was like laughing the other day with Odalis because I was like, dude, I need to decompress. I think I need to play some GTA
There you go.
because some games like you got like Skyrim, you got like a bunch of missions to do, and it could be kind of daunting and like a
You
little
just want to
stressful.
plug in for a couple minutes and
Yeah, it's
cause
not
some
like
mayhem and plug out.
yeah,
I do that with Call of Duty.
exactly. Like we were
Um,
talking about Call of Duty the other day, like the other week, like exactly that, and I think it does that so well. So that
yeah,
is my number one, and those are my five for open world maps.
very nice, very nice.
Yes.
Um, I'm gonna go through mine. There's kind of crossover, but we're gonna start with number five. Um, excuse me, and I'm gonna actually switch my four and five. Number five, you mentioned it, but I'm gonna go with Spider-Man 2, um,
Ooh.
the movie game on PS2, because that was my actual like. I like the web slinging. I like the feel of the PS4 games. Um, but Spider-Man 2, to my knowledge, is the only one where your right trigger and your left trigger would do
Oh,
both the web
the
swinging.
web
So you could
swing.
do a
Yeah.
lot more creative type. It was much more customizable, I guess. More freeform and open,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I really, really dug. And allowed you to do some really cool stuff around the city. And at the time, I think that was the first open world superhero game. And,
Yeah.
to, so, you know, this is just a couple years or so after Grand Theft Auto comes out. And you're like, I think the whole time us nerds are playing Grand Theft Auto, like, yeah, but if only we could be like a superhero in this kind of open world thing. And then we got it and it was awesome.
It's awesome.
Um, that game is still so good. But yeah, so Spider-Man 2 edges out the PS4 version for my money, but it's still a really good game. Yeah.
There we go. There we go.
Number four, I'm gonna go Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Ooh, I
Um,
didn't even think about that one.
this game, this game is just a gorgeous piece of work. Um, Gigantic map. I really love how certain sections of the map are really cold or really hot, so you have to change your outfit to accommodate for the
Yeah.
different types of situations or environments that you find yourself in. Um, it really does feel like a whole world or country or whatever you want to call it. Um, but it still has that Zelda whimsy to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's playful, but it's also like, oh shit, they're not fucking around. Like I gotta play hard. You know what I mean? Like this is, um, it strikes that wonderful balance, and it's just pretty to look at. Like it's really, really pretty to look at.
Yeah, they got
Um,
the design of the like the characters and the creatures and stuff, and then yeah, even some of the bosses were really pretty
yeah,
crazy in that game. So
I just think about like the long stretches of grass and the blue sky with clouds. I'm like, it's a pretty game. It's a very,
it
very
is,
pretty game.
it is.
Um, Almost looks like watercolor. Um,
Yeah, and is there
so
a second one they're making right now?
it's yeah, it's supposed to be coming. I hope.
Ooh,
I hope it was
dang, I
good
might have to.
game.
Yeah, I might have to bust that one out again too, man.
Alicia stands by it. She's like, I think Breath of the Wild is probably the greatest video game ever made. I'm like,
Whoa.
that's a lot. I don't know if I go that far,
Yeah.
but it's up there. It's very good. Um, Number three, I'm gonna go Red Dead Redemption 2, just because the map is so much bigger. There's so much more you can do. Um, I think Red Dead Redemption 1 is a more enjoyable play experience, you know? There's situations where like if you're in your hideout camp or whatever, the game forces you to walk slowly. You can't run. And
Yeah.
that's like there's a lot of situations like that where it's like, and there's no fast travel. And the map is gigantic. So everywhere you go, you have to literally go there.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating in a way, but it's also very gratifying and very rewarding an
Yeah.
experience
Yeah.
because you do encounter so many different things on your way to other things. And if you don't, it's another game that is just gorgeous to look at. And you and there's nothing wrong with that. There's
Nothing wrong
nothing
with that.
wrong with that. Um, Number two, another Rockstar game, Grand Theft Auto Vice City. I can't talk enough about this game. You know, I love the 80s aesthetic with like the pink neon and the cars. And um, it's a map. I've been playing it again on the remastered edition.
Oh, okay.
That's, yeah, it was one of Lisa's Christmas presents for me was the remastered Grand Theft Auto trilogy. Um, and it's impressive how big that map is for PlayStation 2, but small enough that I can still remember
Like
each
where to?
neighborhood.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and I didn't realize this watching like reviews of like the remastered editions. There weren't maps in those games. The game came with a physical map,
That's right.
but other than
Yeah.
that, you couldn't like make a marker and then a path, and you would have to figure your way out. And I think that's why I still know the map so well too, is because I spent a lot of my childhood driving around and figuring it out. But it is small enough that you know, and each neighborhood feels distinct from the others, and it's a wonderful game, and it's still a fun game to look at, and it's bright and it's colorful, which contrasts wonderfully with how violent and crude it can be at times. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Vice
Vice
City.
City.
I gotta check out those remasters.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, people were complaining a lot with, and I got it after the patch. Um,
Oh, I see. Yeah.
but I mean, yeah, it's a little wonky, but it feels like you're playing a game from
From
three
that time.
generations ago,
Yeah.
and that's kind of what it is. Um, Number one, I'm going to go with Arkham City as well. Arkham Knight is a bigger map. There's more to do, but I think a lot of Arkham Knight, I can't tell where I am half the time. Everything
Okay.
kind of looks very identical, whereas in Arkham City, each neighborhood is distinct. And
Hmm.
you were talking earlier about there's being so much to see and so many hidden things. There's so many, yes, riddles, but just Easter eggs of like, oh my God, there's a poster for the Flying Graysons. There's Maxie Zeus's, you know,
Oh,
whatever, high
yeah.
rise or whatever. You know, there's
Yeah.
so much, you know, um, and it's all done with so much care, so much. I remember a quote from the time the game came out. The game director or whatever was like, "We didn't try to make the biggest open world game, but we tried to make the most detailed."
Yeah.
And I think that comes through.
Hmm.
I still think there's so much. It's it's dark, it's whatever, blah blah blah. But there's enough variety where I don't feel that there is in Night.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. Yeah.
but yeah, and City again. So it's not the biggest, but it's one of those games that is so distinct that you're able to travel around fairly easily. It never feels overwhelmingly big,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's great. It's great. Arkham City.
Arkham City. Look at that.
Yes.
Rounded off.
There we go, baby.
Good list, man. Good list. I
Thanks,
like
man.
want to
You
play some
too.
video games now because
Honestly.
yeah, I want to get into that world. I think I thought of this list because there's the I'm sure you've heard of this. I mean, it's probably the most popular game as at this moment is Elden Ring. Have you heard anything
I've
about
been
Elden
hearing
Ring?
about it. I don't know anything about it. I've just been hearing the name.
Yeah, it's I heard it's I never really played the I think it's the Soul Calibur series or not Soul Calibur.
Mm,
It's yeah, one of the it's like part of the same creators of that series, but I heard it's the map and everything very detailed and very immersive, and I think pushing kind of the boundaries of what we expect from like open worlds. So,
nice.
but I can't afford a brand new game right now. So, but yeah, I mean that's why it kind of inspired this list because I was like, man, I'm thinking about like all these different maps that we've played and a lot of these video games we've played over the years, and it's funny we kind of
Yeah.
gravitate towards some of the older generation games because, you know, our obviously because of our experiences with it and our time with the game, but they do make a lasting impression because it's just like if you have so much fun and you remember parts of the map and you kind of remember an experience you had or a situation that happened, like that's I think that's what makes a good open world game and map is those things that are placed there. The concept and the design, all that stuff kind of adds up. But yeah, good list, dude. Good list.
Yeah, man. You too. You too.
Good list.
Um, Shawnee, do you have anything you'd like to share with our dear, sweet, lovely imaginary audience this week?
Not much. I should have saved the whole thing with my meeting up with my professor, ex professor, for share time. But yeah, quick shout out to Drew Waters. Thank you so much for linking up, and we'll link up again in the future. And what else? I think that's kind of it, dude. I
Nice.
don't got much on the docket. Just yeah, just trying to. I guess my brother's birthday passed from our previous episode, so
Happy
obviously,
birthday, Simon.
happy birthday, Simon. Part one, 1/4 of blind issues, and yeah, my brother is I think he turned 30 this year, so he's a 30-year-old now, man. So
Holy
crazy,
shit.
right?
Totally. Yeah. Wow.
That too.
Wow.
But best wishes to you, Simon. And
Yes.
appreciate you if you listen to the show. So,
We love you, Si.
we love you, dude.
Nice.
Do you have anything to share this week, dude?
Yes. So I have kind of fallen out of listening to podcasts and things, but every once in a while I have to go into the office and I listen to a podcast on my way home. And I've been really into like history lately.
Okay.
There's a great podcast called History Unplugged. And usually this historian, Scott Rourke, something like that, he has on different historians, and usually they've just written a book. And so they'll discuss the topic from the book. And he had historian Ben Wilson on, and to talk about the history of cities, and
Okay.
fascinated by this. Because the first city was formed 6,000 years ago, um, Uruk or something like that. But anyway, I'm reading his book right now called Metropolis, a history
Okay.
of the city, humankind's greatest invention. So, yeah, he's kind of taking chunks of time periods where cities were flourishing, you know what I mean? And we'll kind of zero in on a specific thing. For Rome, it was the baths and how that
Yeah.
kind of culture permeated. For Baghdad, it was street food,
Oh,
and
cool.
how it's really cool. I I love cities. I think, when we were like in Paris, you're walking around, you can feel the history.
Yeah, yeah,
But that history is only so old, when you think about it in comparison to these ancient cities that were sacked and destroyed. And um, it's incredible how many are still around.
yeah, yeah.
It's wild. Um,
And hopefully
but
being
yeah, so I'm,
preserved.
yeah. So I'm reading that right now. It's really good. Highly recommend it, for any history nerds out there that are interested in learning about cities. So
Cool. I
yeah,
like that. I like how you went, like going off a podcast and then, kind of, finding the book, the book that the gentleman wrote. I think that's really cool, especially to dive deeper into that subject.
yeah. We have a library up the street, so Elise gets books all the time. So I was like, hey, can I
Oh,
get this one?
cool. Dude, I kind of like a library card, man.
Yeah, I know. I
Might
got
as
I got to
well.
fill
Might
it
as
out.
well check out some books. You actually reminded me. This is probably what I should have mentioned for share time. I have been, and I listen to this podcast, not weekly, but every now and then when they do like a series. But I've mentioned this podcast before on the show, and it's called Blank Check, and
Mhm.
with Griffith and David. And they're pretty much like the premise of the podcast, in short, is they kind of each episode they pick a director that they kind of go through their kind of filmography, and the whole reason why Blank Check is the name of the podcast is it's pretty much like the passion projects or the projects that
Yeah,
after the directors were able to do their one movie, and now they are kind of the reputation, and they're able to get like enough funding and money for their next project.
yeah.
That's kind
Do
of the
whatever they
premise
want.
of it. So they just started Sam Raimi on
Oh,
theirs,
cool.
and they just released the Evil Dead. So I
Nice.
just was listening to it on my way to work, and then kind of on my way back, and it's cool. I mean, they're kind of goofy, and sometimes they go kind of off track, but for the most part, it's great because they do talk about one, how they funded the film and like how they got there, and then what was happening during the filming, and like kind of like little fun tidbits, and like what was Sam Raimi doing, what was this kind of his uh, you know what was his
Yeah.
actions, and how he kind of brought himself about during the filming of the movie. And then I was laughing because as I got kind of closer to the end of the podcast, they were mentioning like the different releases they had, like the DVDs and Blu-rays and VHS or whatever, and they mentioned the version that you had with the Necronomicon, and it's like literally the Book of the Dead,
Yeah.
and it had like skin on. I mean, it looked like rubber skin and like
Still got it.
still got it. And they were laughing because they were like, one of them I think owned it on the show, and he's like, man, the material looked like it was made out of the actual prop material because after a while it deteriorates if you don't take care of it.
True.
But I was laughing because I was like, man, I remember Joey still, I know he still has that, and
Yeah.
it's such a an item, a collector's item, I think, for being a fan of the films and stuff. So, so I can't wait till I think they're doing this because Doctor Strange is coming out in like
Yeah.
May or something. So they're kind of probably going through Sam Raimi's kind of filmography. And it's gonna be kind of cool because then they'll probably do it in order of like, well, so after he did all the Evil Dead movies, like how did that allow him to do like Spider-Man or that kind of stuff. So yeah, blank check.
Nice, man.
Check it
Very
out.
nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
My hangover is returning with a vengeance.
Oh,
My
dude,
fingertips are sweating.
The coffee is working. It's like really hot in my room right now, and then this
Yeah.
camera's driving me nuts because I could see it like it's delayed by like 5 seconds. So
Let's
yeah.
wrap things up. Where can we find you on the internet, sir?
You guys can find me on Instagram at Sean Day Music, on my website seandaymusic.net.
Net.
I released some music last Friday under the name Pillow Fight Music, but I go under the name Pillow Fight. I just couldn't get the name, unfortunately, on the other streaming platforms. But I released a song called Love Letter. Check it out. It's there. on I think I'm on Instagram if you find it. What else? That's pretty much it. Just kind of getting through this week, and just a lot of stuff too. So, but yeah, find me, Joey. Where can we find you on the internet?
You can check me out on Twitter and Instagram at Joey Parati and on my website, joeyparati.com. You can check out the show at Top 5 Pod. That's TOPFIVE 5 POD on Instagram, on Twitter at gmail.com, or on Facebook, Apple Music, Google Play, SoundCloud, Anchor, Spotify, and actually YouTube. So please give us a watch, give us a listen, give us a follow, give us your love, and we will give you
a lot of tickles in return. I don't know.
Okay. That's new, and I like it. I applaud this. Until next time, I'm Joey Parati.
And I'm Sean Day.
Thanks for listening.